Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about Fast X. This is the 10th Fast and Furious film and penultimate, I guess, of the Fast and Furious movies. I'm not counting Hobbs and Shaw, and I believe there's a short film that counts in there too. This is kind of like the Avengers Infinity War of Fast and Furious movies. You're building, and obviously there's more movie. It's sort of, this isn't a spoiler, I guess, finishes what feels like halfway point of a movie or something. So even more or less of a single film than Infinity War, or holds up better as a part one than Dune, I guess. In some sense, it does feel like you know exactly what's going on. You can tell where it's going as predictably as Fast and Furious movies are. But this was also a noticeable increase in quality, which is surprising because the director was replaced a week before they started shooting, because the series feels a little long in the tooth, even though I've been a little more positive than most people have been with these, post Fast 7 and post Justin Lin and him coming back and all those things. And this was a lot of fun. Basically, it reminded me of what I liked about the Fast and Furious films in 5 and 6. Jason Momoa is amazing in it, and it kind of does everything that you kind of really want from these kind of silly movies, and even does the Empire Strikes Back thing of splitting up the team better than I've seen a lot of movies do too. It's sort of like the perfect little dumb, stupid summer blockbuster amped up to 11 and costing $340 million somehow. But it really sings and works in the best way that Justin Lin, even though he didn't direct it, he wrote it and obviously did a lot of planning. The best way he got his style to work, Fast and Furious, in the uber ridiculoso way that Fast and Furious always worked best. This is about Dom and the crew are going to be killed off by Jason Momoa's character, who is the son of the guy they were against in Fast 5. They do sort of a revisionist history thing. They show parts of Fast 5 again, but they showed Jason Momoa was actually there the whole time, and supposedly because Justin Lin left so late, most of his crew was still hired and didn't quit, I think. I'm not 100% on that. What I've read, like, the same person who shot Fast 5 shot this and remembered the lighting conditions and how they did the lighting and actually completely recreated it. And some of the shots that are there to recreate parts of Fast 5 are CG, and some are like new footage that they knew how to shoot the same way as the last movie. It's actually kind of interesting how well they recreated the Fast 5 stuff. I was other than the de-aging of Jason Momoa, but I was like, I guess he looked like that then. I forget now. Do you look like that in Conan the Barbarian? Maybe. They do that, and then you see he's there, and then his dad's been killed, spoilers for Fast 5, and so he goes crazy, and he's like this malevolent, like Joker in Dark Knight, or Javier Bardem in Skyfall, or this, like, several generations down, obviously this crazy, insane, like, chaos villain. But it's always fun to see someone play those roles, and Jason Momoa is having a lot of fun while destroying and like taking apart the crew, taking all their money, separating them, making Rome explode with a flaming bomb going through Rome and stuff. It is quite fun watching a good villain attack these films, which I don't know if they, sort of with Charlize Theron and Dom, sort of this, sort of that. But this is unequivocally maybe the best villain the Fast films have ever had. Because he's just so much fun to watch, and Jason Momoa is having a lot of fun with his kind of strange, odd, kind of sociopathic, kind of non-binary character that Jason Momoa is playing. Is just engines the whole thing as Dom and the team are trying to fight him and stop him, and failing a lot of the time because he's always one step ahead because he has been studying them. So I think what's interesting about this is Louis Leterrier, who did the Transporter films, hasn't even done a film in English since Grimsby. And even before that, it's like, I don't think it's done a straight kind of action movie in a long time, but somehow was able to direct this. I'm not exactly sure how that one is, but he does the Justin Lin stuff very well. In fact, I'd say this is probably among my top 3 favorite Fast films, although the ones past Fast 5 and 6 are kind of like all meshed together, but I'd say this is kind of higher up. I don't even remember F9. I seem to have memories of like each of the Fast Furious films and cool sequences, and I think they went to space in F9, but I don't I don't know. John Cena was in it. I remember liking it more, but it didn't make an impact. But this one did, and I think Louis Leterrier is able to do his best sort of Justin Lin impression, but that's mostly... I do think Justin Lin's footprints are all over this. Fast 5 was a major film for him. It was a major film for the franchise. It turned the whole franchise around. I think it's Justin Lin's best movie. It's Fast and Furious' best movie. And it literally changed everything, and I think it is a major point of his relationship with the franchise, so it's sort of like him returning to that, says a certain thing. But he did also help write it. He still got writing credit and producing credit. Louis Leterrier says he did extensive rewrites. I don't know how you did that like a week before shooting, but maybe he did. It works really well. I liked how they split up the team. Actually, most of the time, I don't like it when films that aren't Empire Strikes Back do that. I think I liked it in X2, Empire Strikes Back, and maybe this, and the rest I always find it sort of obnoxious. Like, what do you think you're doing? It might also be because this split them up the same way Empire did, where it's like you have Dom, who's the leader of the team, much like Luke, and everybody else is somewhere else. So that sort of worked. I mean, Letty is sort of a third storyline, but, you know, that sort of works within the Fast and Furious stuff, so it's fine. I mean, they're always almost together, so it sort of like feels like a natural place to take the franchise, to be honest with you. They'd always do these like weird side missions, but they always come back together. There's no like threat that they were separated. In this, there's like a real thing. Of course, you have Ludacris and Tyrese. Tyrese was like maybe at his most obnoxious I've ever seen him in these films. Although he was fine with that. I like seeing Han again. It was cool seeing Helen Mirren and Rita Moreno in the same movie, even though they don't like interact, but they should have. Maybe at the end they will, and seeing Jason Statham. And the only major issue is like Pete Davidson has a cameo in London, and I don't understand what Pete Davidson would naturally be doing in London. They usually have people who are very specific to the place they are in those locations. So I was like, come on, Nick Frost, and you're like, oh, it's Pete Davidson. Cool. Give me a Doctor Who, somebody. And it's like, okay, this guy. And it was weird. Also, I will say one thing that was strange about seeing this film is before this film, they have a trailer for Oppenheimer, and they're talking about bombs and the morality of bombs and all those things like that. And then, like, maybe 20 minutes later, I'm watching a flaming bomb roll through Rome as they're running around their cars trying to stop this bomb from, this neutron bomb or whatever from exploding Rome. Like, almost gave me, like, a flash there. I was just thinking about, like, oh man, how crazy it is. They made the atomic bomb, and now I'm watching lighthearted entertainment of them going like, oh no, the bomb's on fire. We better drive car faster. It's interesting. John Cena was actually probably, other than Jason Momoa, was really good in this, especially with the kid. I think it's more fun to see him have fun in these films than it is seeing him be uberly serious. I do still feel like The Rock probably should have been in this. I know, like, later on and stuff like that, but I think that was a mistake. But overall, this is getting back to the ridiculousness that made Fast and Furious that successful. I think the two sequences, the Rome bomb sequence, is pretty insane. But also the end sequence, going everything from John Cena flying this weird glider thing to like him having this epic car chase, to Dom showing up, to everything like that. I also like Alan Ritchson. I've seen him on podcasts and stuff. I've never actually seen him act in anything. He was very good. It almost felt like everyone knew what they were doing. Brie Larson sort of in here. She's fine. I don't have an opinion one way or the other about her in this. In some ways, there's not a ton to say about this other than it was able to, believe it or not, recapture kind of what made Fast and Furious and Justin Lin's style work so well, which was kind of incredible. I thought this would be much more of a train wreck. I'm curious to see the sequel, not only because I want to see how this plot line ends, but I also want to see how Louis Leterrier, like, he is developing it himself this time, not with Justin Lin help. So I'm kind of wondering, like, what is that without someone just swooping in and kind of like having the crew Justin Lin has and the planning and all the pre-production done by another director, what that is like, because this to me feels like someone kind of like steering the ship within another style. I don't mean that as a knock and like say, oh, he's not, whatever. I actually think he does a really good job. Like, this is amazing direction for a Fast and Furious film. Probably some of the best direction we've seen that's not Justin Lin, maybe James Wan. But I think this is, if you're looking for Fast and Furious and you're looking for a good one, this is definitely one of the top films. I don't know if anyone would be as interested because it does feel like maybe this film should have come out instead of 9, which I barely remember, or 8 or something like that. It feels like we hit the ultimate thing with Paul Walker, and like every time someone's gonna take away the crew, and every time they have to save the world, and every time we have to have a million characters from various Fast films, and like all this continuity. Like when Fast 5 did it, it was like haha, all this continuity, and same with Fast 6 and all this stuff, and then when Tokyo Drift took place in the future and all those things, and now it's like all that's kind of set, and it's not doing a silly thing. And I think like the possibility of like literally everyone coming together in the next one is exciting, but I do think like, yeah, but we pushed this maybe too far. I don't want there to be 3 or 2 more ones. I just want it to be Fast X and Fast 11. But like for now, like I like these films. I see them all. I like the Justin Lin stuff. I'm very much into this franchise. This was really good for me, but I don't know how it's as exciting for everyone. I get that it's split between people who are really into this continuity and really take it seriously, and the people who like laugh at it. And I think this should appeal to both, which I think like the best Fast and Furious is able to do both, and I think this does it better than I've seen anyone do since probably Fury 7 or the peak of Justin Lin. It definitely showed like they wanted to make a statement with this. A blockbuster who wants to give you a good time, which I think is why it's very comparable to Infinity War. It wanted to do this massive commercial artistic statement, and I do actually think Fast X does that within like what a Fast and Furious film is, and it is a peak of the form basically because of that. I'm curious to see where this goes. I do still love this franchise. I will be sad to see it go. I don't really want it to just be Hobbs and Shaw, but I don't think like Ludacris and Tyrese, as much as people stick around for them, I don't know if I'd see a movie with just them. But I think this was a film that understood the fun and the ridiculousness as much as you absolutely should, but also like took itself as seriously as Vin Diesel probably demands to make these films kind of centered in a way. It has to have sort of a center for these characters to bounce off of, and I think Jason Momoa got that the best. John Cena as well, but I think Jason Momoa really got that in this, and I think it's probably one of his best performances I've seen. Jason Momoa is never not Jason Momoa, and this is the most I've seen him like play a role as well. He was just like really, really good as a villain, and definitely got like, oh, this is fun. I'm having fun fucking with Dom Toretto. And like, you want someone who isn't just like, I'm talking in a serious voice. Oh, Dom, you're so predictable, family, blah, blah, blah. And like, he did that, but he's like laughing, he's like painting his nails, he's wearing ridiculous outfits. It is a sight to be seen, and it definitely brings to life. So I think this Fast X is kind of like one of those blockbusters, like, okay, you get exactly what I want from you. But I don't, it's not as expected and as silly that like this has lasted this long, and now it's like, well, of course it's going to last this long. And it's almost lasted before. You're like, I can't believe Fast and Furious started here and is now here. And now it's like, well, of course Fast and Furious is here, and of course it's like that. But if you are cool with all those things and are into it, it's great. If you're sick of all that stuff, this is more of the same. It just does it really well. So if you've seen Fast X and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.